you have beanbag chairs and free Twizzlers. Okay, let's not get it twisted. But they are selling that. They're trying to present themselves, I think, more than ever in a good light to a prospective employee. And they are, some companies, not all of them, but some companies are saying, look, work-life balance, if you want it, we have a hybrid schedule. We have flex schedules. We have this, we have that. So I think it's great.
I was at you got anything, Jihad? I was actually now this is going to be very controversial. I was kind of hoping, because in my opinion, COVID exposed a lot of problems that had been kind of papered over for years. I can hark back to my parenting part. One of the biggest things that fucking just totally shocked me is the panic that parents had having to have their brats home.
Yep.
Parents, one of the reasons, I hear a lot of people going, well, the schools were closed and, kids, lost, precious time learning. In all honesty, my impression is that people did not want to have to deal with their kids. I sometimes get the impression that parents don't like their kids. And I just anecdotally, I heard a lot of people, stressing out when they heard schools were closed. So, I don't buy the bullshit that, it was like for the kids that we wanted schools open, especially in New York City. I was shocked. I actually liked having my son home.
Well, in Loa, Utah, I mean, I hate doing anecdotal. I hesitate to even call this anecdotal. When the new school year was beginning, because they just closed it down, and the previous school year in April, end of April, and that was kind of, the parents had, child care issues, but there was no scholastic component to it. When the new school year began and schools had a choice, whether, in school or from home, the parents lost it. They were like, I can't be doing this during the day. I don't want to put up with any of this. The kid doesn't want to learn, or they're not paying attention. And I'm like, welcome to my world, mom and dad. And I don't necessarily think, I think in many cases you're used to that. You're used to, hey, see you when I get home, and the kids go to school and they're there till 3:00 and you don't have to worry about it. And you certainly don't have to participate in the scholastic portion if you don't want to. But I'm telling you what, we at our school, because I was in charge of setting up the robotic swivel cameras in all the rooms so that those students at home could be at school with a camera trained on the teacher at all times, and they could click it to the board. It was really great technology. But most of the parents said, no, we're sending them to school. A portion of that was, what am I going to do with them all day? But a big portion of that was, it is not easy even to get a parent to be the teacher. They didn't want any part of that at all.
Yeah, I would actually agree with both points. I think a lot of parents don't know what to do with their kids. They don't know how to educate them. Like, even if you just think about homework and how difficult that is for some parents just to check or even assist with kids, and you want to teach them, 3 or 4 periods worth of classwork, parents were just lost.
Yeah, can I top of the morning, fellas and everybody.
Top of the morning.
Hey Sam, what's up?
Hey, let me chime in on this. So I have learned, so my like half my family is school teachers, and the job I do now, I'd have to interact with people in a certain way where I have kind of determined that a lot of people, and I would dare say most, are just dealing with the thing they created rather than um, having some sort of goal or vision or whatever's the opposite of just dealing with it when it comes to their children. And especially on the lower rung, and I hate to say it, I believe in, especially when it comes to a lot of lower end black folks. Well, I won't even say that. I'm gonna say there's a lot of, I deal with a lot of single mothers on an occasion, and I have concluded that their kids to them are nothing more than a bridge to government money or other types of money, but mainly government money. And these people don't care anything about these kids. And that, I think, kind of explains why in some instances you see these kids, as soon as they're 18 and they have no value in terms of helping someone qualify for this or that, those kids get thrown out. And I think I've noticed that, but that's just my observation. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah.
I want to make one quick point, and thank you, Kimmy. I'll show that video next. Helen, and this is to backtrack a little bit, but Helen talking about while everyone is working, how can they be home with the kids? I was actually talking more people who, could stay home with their kids. I know a lot of IT people. So it was a lot of, hey, I have to stay with the kids. I have to cook lunch for the kids. I have to do all these things that usually I depend on the school to do. I don't really have an answer for people who are considered vital workers. Um, I guess I would ask you, well, Helen, what did you do? I'm curious to know what was your workaround. Um, and this is going to go all the way back to a point that I think it was Ryan, kind of poo-pooed or said that being pro-family is a thing. America wants to move to a more pro-family sort of orientation. I think COVID also brings out the point that America talks a good game about being pro-family. And this might not be so much a federal thing as much as a state and local thing. But, at the state and local level, because, education is a state and local matter, um, America, if Helen's having to wonder, like, hey, I have to work, what's going to happen with the kids, then I don't see that I see that as proof that America isn't as pro-family as it thinks it is. And it's low-hanging fruit, I admit, but, it's just another point. America is not pro-family.
Yeah.
Natalist,
Yeah,
hey, they want people, the natalists want people to have a bunch of kids, but once you have the kids, you're kind of on your own. I just find that, disingenuous.
I think I would agree with you on there, Stanley.
Yeah, same. And to kind of tie both your point, Stanley, and Sam's point together, if on one end the parents aren't doing what they need to do for the kids, and the other end the teachers don't care, the kids are just doomed. And I think that we're seeing the result of that in society right now.
Yeah, a lot of the teachers are. Well, I talked to my sister and some other people that are kind of the younger, newer age teachers. My mom was a teacher and my grandma, but they're retired. But especially with my sister, she's about a couple years younger than me, but she says, and I hear this everywhere, that the kids are just off the chain. But at the same time, it's funny because even though I'm not a teacher, I sometimes listen to my sister, and I think I would be a better teacher than her just because I have probably a better.
Wow.
You know what it is? My sister is not saying she's a bad teacher. I don't know how she teaches exactly, but just her temperament. And I have a lot of years doing sales and customer service, so I think I'm better at dealing with a wider variety of people, even if they're hard to deal with. I don't know if my sister has that same range, but I do still believe her because I've heard so many people just say the kids are terrible these days.
Is she in a big city, teaching inner city, out in the country?
I would say in a suburban area that has, I don't know, it's because I moved away a little while ago, but I would say it's a suburban area that's hood enough, let's say, but not in the depths of the ghetto, just bad suburban hood kids. But see, where I'm from, you have a lot of people that have left a hood to move to our area where it's more affordable to have a little bit better life. So you're going to have some of that mentality just in nicer homes.
Yeah. All it takes is 10% black people and shit goes the other direction.
Right. And see, the other thing too is in our area, it's Southern California. So it's funny because when I was growing up, we had kind of a little bit of everybody. But when I go back, I swear it's just dominated by Hispanics and probably more specifically like Mexican and Central American people. You know, a lot of people. When I look around, there's like no variety. It's just Hispanic people. So at least there, anyways.
I want to Kimmy put up a video, and there are a couple sections of this video that on parenting that I'd like to at least listen to, if they're applicable. You know, I just want to listen to them right quick. I also want to point out that we're at 10:53. I know there's another show scheduled. I guess John has something he wants to do at 11:45. So we're going to be heading out in 45 minutes or so, I think. Okay, so this is a guy I've never heard of. Universal, you know of him, so
Yes.
maybe you can help
I'm
us
familiar with
what
Simon
he
Sinek.
does.
Yeah, Simon Sinek, he's a well-known author now, but he's been in the business world for quite some time. I think he's even done some tech. He's been in the business tech world as well. He does a lot of training. I think his most famous book is it Knowing Your Why? Something Your Why is I forgot the title of the book. I read it a long time ago.
He's got
parenting first.
He's got an incredible assessment of how millennials at the time when they were entering the workforce and all the problems they were having due to a bunch of factors. He's very, very viral. The guy is I think he's really pretty awesome thinker.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I not know of him?
Start with Why. That's the name of the book.
Yeah, why?
Which sounds right up your alley, Stanley. But yeah,
he's not right up my alley.
No, I think you would enjoy some of his content.
Now the problem is he's got his own website, so we're gonna have to interrupt this, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you definitely probably would want to. The clip I'm referring to has got to be nearing 10 years old, and if I search it here, which I will in a minute, I guarantee you it has millions upon millions of views.
Okay, well, y'all, let's see. This is okay, so we're only going to be showing this first segment's 9 seconds, and then the this next segment. Okay, I'm going to have to see if we can't just get the gist of it, then we'll stop, because I know this guy's he's a heavy hitter, and I don't want to be hit. Okay, so here we go.
Too many millennials have grown up subject to what has been described as a failed parenting strategy. Too many of them were told as they were growing up that they were special, that they can have whatever they want just because they want it. They got medals for coming in last. They got participation medals, right? And the science on this is already good. We know that it devalues the feeling that somebody who works hard and comes in first place, and it actually makes the person.
Okay, so far, nothing that I haven't heard before. Too many participation trophies and all that stuff. Quite frankly, the way I feel is it's not the kid's fault. I guess what I want to do is I want to point fingers at the parents who allowed this.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Stanley. I get tired of the, these kids ain't ish. And if you look at the parents, it's like, hello?
So, that, and I know I'm being a dickhead, but you know what? I might as well stay true to myself.
not really.
Yeah, you play like 30 seconds of the clip, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times he's got to.
I already know where this is going.
Blame
the kids. Don't talk about the parents. And what do we do?
He might surprise you. He might surprise you.
Well, I hope so. Hope springs eternal.
That's because they know they don't deserve it. So it actually makes them feel worse. It actually doesn't help. There are a lot of kids who got into honors classes, not because they deserved it, but because their parents complained. And they got A's not because they earned them, but because the teachers didn't want to deal with the parents, right? Then those kids graduate and they start a job. And in an instant, they find out that they're not special, that you don't get anything just because you want it.
Well, good for him.
You get nothing for coming in last, and your parents cannot help you get a promotion. And in an instant, their entire self-image is completely shattered. In an instant, the way they view themselves has completely changed, turned on its head. And so what you find is that there's an...
Does he talk at all about how to fix them?
I don't know about this particular video, but in others, yes, he that's kind of why businesses like him so much, is not just his analysis, but he also has solutions for these things.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what?
Too.
Apparently, I need to get more into him.
Entire generation growing up with lower self-esteem than previous generations. Remember, they have grown up in an Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat world in which they are very, very good at putting filters on everything. They're very, very good at curating how they want to be seen. And we think they're full of confidence. They seem to have all the answers. They seem to be telling us what to do. At the end of the day, it's just not there. It's just not true. It's just not true. Their confidence is a lot weaker than before. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know where they're going. They're unsure of themselves, and they lack the courage to ask. We say things like, my door is always open, assuming that they have the courage to walk through the door. Number one. Then we add in technology. There's a chemical in our body called dopamine. Dopamine is responsible for...
Well, I figure I'll stop it because I'm... See, have you ever attended an EST? What is EST? White John Galt, what is EST?
Is it elementary school teacher?
Yes. One of these days I will tell you Erhard Seminars training. No, I've never heard of it. Anybody here know what Erhard Seminars training is?
I know what EST is. EST is, and you'll remember this, Stanley, from I think the 70s. It's I'm okay, you're okay. if it's the thing he's talking about. It's that training. I may not be talking about what he's talking about, however.
I
You are,
I
Tom.
have
That is.
I have studiously or some not studiously, but just given much effort to avoid all self-help type stuff like this, only when forced. Because when I was in the Navy, believe it or not, back in the early 90s, they introduced TQM. You remember, was it Denning? Total Quality Management.
Yes.
So
I've heard of it.
yeah, my father, as a matter of fact, my father was like always giving me those books.
For the feelings we get when we find something we're looking for or we accomplish something we set out to accomplish. You know that great feeling you get when you cross something off your to-do list, or when you win the game, when you hit the target, right? Win the client, get the promotion, whatever it is. That elation, find your keys. That elation comes from a chemical in our body called dopamine, right? Now, other substances, other things that release dopamine include alcohol, nicotine, gambling. That's what makes us feel good when we engage with those things, and it's the root of a lot of addiction. In fact, almost every alcoholic on the planet discovered alcohol when they were teenagers.
Really?
You see, when we're very, very young, the only approval we need is approval from our parents. And then as we go through adolescence, we now crave the approval of our peers. Very frustrating for our parents, very important for us. It allows us to acculturate outside of our immediate families into the larger tribe. Very, very important, right? It's a time of high stress and high anxiety, and we're supposed to learn to rely on our friends. Some people, quite by accident, discover alcohol and the numbing effects of dopamine to help them cope with the stress, and that becomes hardwired, and then for the rest of their life, like getting it. Yes, we all hate all the emails, but we love the Bing, right? We've all been in this position. You know, you're feeling a little bit down, you're feeling a little bit sorry, maybe feeling a little bit sad, and so what do? We send out 10 texts to 10 friends. Hi, 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 hi. Telling our young adolescents, I know this is a stressful time, try the vodka, it'll get you through these hard times. That's basically what we're doing. And so what's happening is it's becoming hardwired, where our young generation isn't learning the coping skills and coping mechanisms to turn to another human being when they're struggling or stressed. They're turning to social media or their cell phones. Their self-worth sometimes becomes wrapped up in how many likes they get. They obsessively check how many likes, and actually will get depressed. Sit and talk on the phone. Let me show you something that's really powerful. Can I borrow your phone, please? There's one right there in between you. Just let me borrow that for a sec. I'm asking you to give me somebody else's phone. You don't have to turn it on. I just need it. Thank you. So let me show you the subconscious power of this device. What if I were to hold my phone while I'm giving this presentation? I'm not checking it, it's not buzzing, it's not beeping. I'm simply holding it. Do you feel like you're the most important thing to me right now? No, you do not. And this is an artificial environment. Now think about how often this phone is out while we're talking to other people.
Well, not sure. Not sure it's going where I was hoping it would go. What do y'all think?
I'm still interested. I'm not sure where you're hoping it to go.
Some of this, although not all of it, is in the millennials in the workplace video.
Some of this?
Yes. Yeah. He is some of the key fundamentals of what he teaches is how we react to the stimulus around us in the workplace and life, et cetera, and how people process that in good ways and bad ways. So,
well, I was kind of hoping that it would go, well, parents, this is what you do to counteract. I mean, I guess the obvious thing is, meter, your kids' social media stuff?
Yeah, I don't know that maybe the solution in this one is at the end of it or something, but
Yeah, if you want to talk about that, you're probably gonna need to look at Jonathan
Oh
Haidt,
yeah, I'm not a fan of height.
and then yeah, I think this would connect with the video that I'd created. But go ahead and play it.
Well, I think this guy seems to be a little bit more secular. Jonathan Haidt tends to be very conservative and very quote moralistic. I just he not that he's not good. I think he's obviously brilliant, just not my cup of tea.
You want to know how much he charges for a keynote?
I bet I can't afford him.
You can't. I couldn't either. We tried to get him for one of our conferences. He's 60,000 right now. Jeez, I had to get him for the next like 6 years at that rate. It's like, good Lord. Yeah, he's rolling in the dough.
He talks about the beanbags and chefs, and folks are still miserable in that video. Some people say some people pay for likes in the form of super chats and cash apps. Not sure what that means.
I'd be interested in seeing the last 5 minutes of this and see if that's when he addresses solutions. I think we'll be able to figure out the syntax of that, but I'm open.
Yeah, let's roll it.
Let's do it. I think it's 15 minutes.
That's fine. Anywhere. Any old place is good.
On something for a long time that cannot be done in a month or even in a year. And so we're thrusting to them in corporate environments, and the worst part about it is they think it's them. They blame themselves. They think it's them who can't deal. And so it makes it all worse. It's not. I'm here to tell them it's not them. It's the corporations. It's the corporate environments. It's the total lack of good leadership in our world today that is making them feel the way they do. They were dealt a bad hand, and I hate to say it, but it's the company's responsibility. Sucks to be you. Like, we have no choice, right? This is what we got, and I wish that society and their parents did a better job. They didn't. So we're getting them in our companies, and we now have to pick up the slack. We have to work extra hard to figure out the ways that we build their competence. We have to work extra hard to find ways to teach them the social skills.
Okay. I guess the company will be the last will be, the parents. A, do companies have that kind of time? B,
No.
you're dealing with kids who probably, in some environments have gone to elite schools, who think they know everything. How does that work?
Well, I think Stanley, you always say we kick the can down the road, and I think this is where it's ended up. And from a sort of a capitalist standpoint, companies are faced with: are we going to do something to make these people functional in the way that we need them to be,
Right.
or are we just going to deal with the foibles of sort of their broken approach to themselves and work? I think it's it's Sophie's choice, but a lot of companies are saying the money that we invest in making them functional and productive workers and people is going to benefit us in the long run, because the money that we spend on dealing with the foibles is not an investment and money we will never get back, and we'll just constantly be putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yep.
Wow, you know what? I'm depressed now.
Yeah, this is what's happening in the work world. And
Yep.
then now remember, this video is 8 years old. So we have a whole new generation that's entered the workforce that's even worse than millennials. I'm a millennial, by the way. And their approach towards work is very different.
Oh,
Very
God. It's just absolutely
it's a shit show.
It's just, hey, can you do me a favor and do the thing that you are supposed to do for the money that you're getting? I mean, please, I'm asking nicely. Stanley, the best news that I have to give you about this that there are beanbag chairs and free Twizzlers. That's the best news.
And mental health days and
Oh,
well-being time and well-being rooms
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and 15-minute meditations before the meeting starts and options to work from home or bring a pet to work. And like there's a problem. It's a wicked problem that has been created right now. And it's not just corporate. I know he's going to focus on corporate because that's his core audience. That's where he gets, his dough. But it's
Right.
all sectors. All sectors are impacted by this.
Well, I can only imagine how that's going to impact home life.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
kind of what I was
I
getting
guess
at in my
this kind of
video.
explains a lot.
Yeah, because they're both blending into each other. After what the pandemic did was it brought work to home,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't want to release that. So now companies, even my own, I'm faced with this dilemma of, do I even need a physical office space? Because productivity wise, my team can still get what they need to get done from home, but I know they're not working a 40-hour work week. I know this.
Yeah, and
Well, do you ever, just a quick thing? I know a lot of times when I literally had a boss tell me once that, you know what, you need to make sure, because I'll crank on the computer at 8, and I'll work till I'm done, which might be 12, 13, 14 hours later. I literally had a boss tell me that you're doing a little too much.
yeah. But I can
We're
tell you
different
that
breed.
you would think that companies, and a lot of them have, after the pandemic, would say, we don't have to lease as much office space. We're not paying for lights. We're not paying for toilet paper. And we don't have inter-office gossip the way we did. Grab ass isn't going on as much. If we just have a conference room, a nice reception area, some workstations and stuff, we can cut our lease per square foot down to a quarter of what it was. But these financial institutions, insurance companies, they are just so stuck in the past that you're coming into work, you're going to put on a tie, you're going to like it. Now,
Yep.
I have always had this, because I work creative at big ad agencies. So my thing was always, hey, if you're getting your shit done and it's good and it's 2:00 and your work's done, get the fuck out of here, because I'm going to ask you to stay until 3 a.m. one day. And a lot of employers are saying, we don't care when you do your work. We don't care where you do your work. If it's done and it's good and you're contactable when we need you, you can be on a beach in Mallorca. We don't care. And that's kind of the deal today. Look, I was working for an agency out of Houston from here in Dallas for 8 years, way before the pandemic. I was work from home before work from home was cool. And I got real used to, guess what? I'm the only one that uses the executive bathroom. All the snacks here seem to be things I like. The furnishings also are almost if they were hand chosen by me. That gets pretty good. You know what else gets pretty good? No commute to work. Now, in some places, it's not an issue. In Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, it's a big deal because you are spending minimum 10 hours a week that you're doing nothing. You're
Right.
stuck in a vehicle. That 15-minute trudge from my bed to the shower to the desk, that gets real sweet. That gets real good. So people are finding, and I'm as old school as it gets, but that work-life balance, very powerful thing. I can tell you right now, if I was looking for another advertising gig, I would probably take up to 25 grand, maybe more, depending on the work I was doing, to not have to go to work.
Yeah. Let me, one of the things I actually kind of prefer to go to the office. Part of the reason being that when I was home, I would always drift. Well, when, my wife was alive, I worked in the basement where nobody would bother me. Afterwards, I found working from home to be a problem because my mind was always, oh shit, I got to do the dishes. I got to, what are we having for dinner, etc. So I actually preferred to go into the office, when I could.
Some people do. And there is also that thing where even if you work from home, there are going to be times you have to go into the office.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're going to have to physically go in, see people, and companies still have monthly celebration parties. They still have Christmas parties. They still have, some social interaction. But I hear you. A lot of people like the fact that they go into an office and it's completely separated from work. And guess what? These companies, if you want to do that, most of them are like, well, hell yeah, you can come in every day.
I had my internet radio, listening to WAMU all day. It was perfect. Universal, out of curiosity, you're saying you're not getting 40 hours.
Well, I am. I know my staff, but yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you are, but I mean, I meant out of your employees.
Yeah.
Would getting rid of the overhead, the office space, would that compensate, or would you still not be happy?
No, it definitely would compensate. It's one of my bigger line items on our budget. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I just pretty much got approved from my board to move forward with getting out of our lease.
Mm-hmm.
Went out of our office space. One reason is we pay too much damn rent there. I inherited this lease when I took over the organization, but the other reason is after the pandemic, it just doesn't make any sense to have such a large space, especially when I have 19 employees, and on a good day where it's busy, there's about 8 people in the office. It's not worth it.
Gotcha.
And if you signed a lease prior to the pandemic, or even during the amount of unused office space in this country right now is staggering.
Yes.
There are something like 30 million square feet of office space in Dallas, Texas, not being used, and a similar amount of warehouse space.
Wow.
It's because all the people left during the pandemic, and a lot of them didn't come back. I worked in a place called the Colonnade here in Dallas. It's 3 buildings attached to each other, 11 stories, which, it's not a skyscraper, but that's 30 stories of building, 25% occupancy.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's like that here in Minnesota, really, really bad. It's so bad, Tom, that I've been speaking to a lot of these commercial real estate people, and people are willing to buy out the lease that I'm in now to move into where they're at. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, insane. Yeah.
They're desperate, and that per square foot dollar, which was high, it was ridiculous beforehand. Now they will barter with you. What is your per square foot office space price? How much you got on you?
Commercial real estate right now in general is hurting a lot, whether it's the retail buildings, the office space, several little subsectors of commercial real estate is just doing bad. And same in my area, with a lot of places the office space being empty. And matter of fact, the building I work in is about somewhere around 40 stories, I believe. I don't know if more than like 10 floors are currently occupied. So, yeah.
Put it this way, I had an entire floor in the parking structure to park my Jag. I'm not joking.
Park it whatever way you want. Just
park just sideways in the middle of the.
I felt like Bruce Wayne. It was
not even in a spot. Just in the direction of travel.
No.
It's so bad. I seen a story a few months ago. I don't know if we covered it here on this channel, but a lady had died at her workspace, and they didn't find her for like 3 days because she was at her desk. I'll see if I can
The
find it.
Wells Fargo. Yeah, it was
Yeah, did you see
somebody at
that?
Wells Fargo.
I was like, holy shit.
Uh,
Died at work, and nobody knew for like 4 days.
mhm. Well, the other thing too with the whole work from home and working in the office thing, like where I work, people start throwing a fit if they think they have to come in more than they're supposed to. They throw a fit for the 1 day a week that we have to come in. And then I actually like going to the office because I like to socialize on some level, but the people that are there, they hate being there so much. It's almost like I don't even want to go because there's no one to socialize with. So, yeah.
As I tell my coworkers and have for many decades, they have to pay me to be around you. So think about that the next time you ask me for that after work meeting at the bar. I don't drink, and am I getting paid? Well, you guys have a good time.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is as we enter this new kind of workspace, the gig economy plays a role too, because so many people have alternative ways to make money, even if they're not making a lot or making close to what you're paying them. They still have this like interest and joy in doing it. So there's a lot the work world is completely changed between DEI, all this well-being stuff, people working from home. We're just in a different space, and can add AI in there too. I think we're going to start seeing more issues around employment and management and ownership over the next few years. But yeah, this was that video. This was crazy. This was I feel bad this lady died, but this is wild. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I heard about this.
A Tempe Wells Fargo employee died at her desk. And 12 News is now confirming that it may have taken as many as 4 days for anyone in the office to notice. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. It's a story we first reported yesterday. Tonight, Tempe police are confirming the timeline of when the woman clocked in to when her colleagues found the body. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is in the studio with new details tonight. Gabby, 4 days. I mean, this poor woman went 4 days undiscovered. It's hard to believe.
And that's a question many employees are asking themselves tonight. I spoke with an employee who said that she shared her perspective on the workplace environment, and they say it's a big building, but most people don't work there on a daily basis. A Wells Fargo employee went to work the morning of Friday, August 16th, and never went home. Tempe police tell 12 News 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme scanned into work at 7 o'clock in the morning. 4 days later, police responded to the office building near Washington Street and Priest Drive for reports of a subject down. Prudhomme was declared dead. The Tempe Police Criminal Investigation Bureau is investigating, but do not suspect foul play. A Wells Fargo employee exclusively spoke with 12 News, but asked not to be recorded or identified out of fear for their job. They say a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building on Tuesday, August 20th. Prudhomme's cubicle was reportedly on the 3rd floor and away from the main aisle. This employee says several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing. They say while most Wells Fargo employees at this Tempe location work remote, the building has 24/7 security, and someone should have found Prudhomme sooner. The incident left several employees feeling scared and uneasy. This employee wants to see new safety protocols in place, telling me, quote, "It's negligence in some part." A different worker also spoke with 12 News anonymously.
It was just uncomfortable.
Again, calling on the company to do more.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay. She was just laying on her desk.
A Wells Fargo spokesperson previously sent 12 News a statement saying, in part, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of our colleague at our Tempe office," adding counselors through our employee assistance consulting service are available to support employees. An employee tells me their direct management offered those services, addressed the incident, and told workers the building was thoroughly cleaned. And a Wells Fargo spokesperson did not have new information to share with me tonight. The Maricopa County Medical Examiner is investigating the cause of death. In studio, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
All right, Gabby, thank you.
Okay. How is that the company's fault?
I mean,
I don't. Why are you scared of backlash? Like, what? Why is people scared to talk about it? You know? What backlash is
Because
going to
you
happen?
never know. Any little thing could smack you upside the head, and then you'll be on your ass before you know it.
Yeah, that's a question. Why? What was the cleaning service?
Yeah, I was thinking at least like a janitor or somebody. Somebody would have stumbled upon her cleaning, but that shows you what's going on there, I guess.
that's if they
Plus,
clean
what about the smell? Like, what did it smell like?
dead
What's
body.
that smell in here?
Well, a lot of times what happens when you die, your bowels.
Almost always.
Yes, everything goes.
Incidentally, her coworkers signed her up for a few savings account and an investment plan in true Wells Fargo tradition. Hey, I want to also point out, not to broad brush it, I work currently with a Gen Z young lady. She's 2 years out of college. She's got more on the ball than 95% of the people I've worked with. There are still really motivated, really on top of it kids out there. So just wanted to throw that.
I agree with that. I have about 3 Gen Zers. They're all pretty dynamic. They push. That's one thing I notice is they'll find a new system, a new route, a new thing, and they get shit done pretty quickly. But they also complain. There's 2 sides to the coin.
Yeah. Every coin has 2 sides. Yeah.
Well, I see John has started up a new stream. Let's see, what do we have?
I think it's local news. John.
I'm sorry, what?
What, a local news stream, right? Isn't he doing local news this morning?
Did who?
John Galt is local news.
No, I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
Is he on his
He started up a new stream. And I've been on for almost 12 hours now, so
we could give you a break, Stanley, and migrate over.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired. I do have
degeneracy. This is the degeneracy stream. Alcoholism, prostitution stream. That's what this is. That's what it was earlier.
Yeah, well, I dropped into the chat, and I'll put it in the back chat also. The YouTube. I don't know what the StreamYard stream is. Yeah, I actually had a good time. There's still a couple things I want to talk about. I guess I'll do it overnight tonight or not. One of the things that I in passing, and I've kind of mentioned this before, the hidden truth linking broken border, the broken border to your online shopping cart. I have mentioned, and I'm sure someone must have mentioned it along the way, but temp agencies. I've actually worked with temp agencies who basically bring in a lot of, at the time, Mexican labor. Temp agencies are really bad about, not checking, documentation and all that jazz. Something that I've never heard addressed. We blame sanctuary cities. We don't seem to blame the actual, we don't really blame a lot of the players, or all the players. So we may follow up on it overnight. We may not.
Sounds good. All right, check
All right,
it.
I appreciate it. I dropped the links over there. John has started. I have no idea what he's talking about, but something. I saw the Tyson fight, so we may be talking about that to start off with. So I appreciate it, everybody.
Yep. Take care, gentlemen.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
See some of
Good
you
luck.
all over.
Have a fine weekend, everybody.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see.